everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel where I kind of give like my experience and pros and cons of different indie brands for single eyeshadows specifically. I've shopped at a lot of different indie brands, especially in the last year before my no-buy, and I feel like it was kind of hard to, understand like the pros and cons of different indie brands because it's hard to find people online that are willing to say potentially negative things about an indie brand. I definitely enjoy indie brands, but there are some that are like better than others if we're being honest. So I'm going to be kind of breaking it down and going brand by brand and saying the pros and cons of that brand, some shades I like, some shades I don't like, and all of that. So today we're going to be starting with Looxi Beauty, and if you're curious to hear my thoughts about the brand, then go ahead and just keep on watching. Alright, so we are in overhead mode. So these are all of my Looxi shadows that I have. Although, not gonna lie, I just went to the brand website to look up like prices and descriptions and things like that, and realized that Looxi has taken down all of their old shadows and now is doing like a completely new formula and stuff. So none of these are available, which totally sucks. I figured though, I was already like halfway through filming this video, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep filming it, so that way if you guys were curious about like old Looxi shadows, I guess you can use this as a reference. But just know, none of these are currently available on the Looxi site, and I don't think that they are going to be, although they might come out with like similar shades in the future. So I kind of have them organized by ones that I like the most to ones that I like the least. This palette is definitely like my favorite shadows, and this palette has some of my least favorite shadows, and some of which I'm actually going to be decluttering. So these first 3 rows are all like the more like sparkly type of formula, I would say. It's interesting because even though Looxi describes all of their eyeshadows as shimmers, there definitely are some discrepancies between the different formulas. I'm not sure if that will be true going into their new formula, but it's definitely been my experience thus far. So this first shade is Salted Caramel, and it was from their Ice Cream Social 2 collection, and it's this like transparent, not quite transparent, but pretty translucent base with a little bit of like a tinge of like a creamy yellow base, I guess, but it's got this really strong blue shift / sparkle in it, and it's really, really pretty. Next up is Nectar, which is from the Butterfly Kisses collection, Butterfly Kisses 1. I really like this shade. It's just like essentially just a shimmery yellow with, again, like a pretty translucent base, but it's got a lot of that like really clear like sparkle in it and shines really bright. Next is Adonis, and this is another one. This is actually from the Butterfly Social or Butterfly Kisses 2 collection, and it's got like a very light blue base with a lot of like golden yellow sparkle in it. Then last up for this first row, this is Painted Lady from Butterfly Kisses 1, or yes, Butterfly Kisses. Sorry, I get the names so confused. And you can see it's got a really strong purple base with like a blue-green shift and sparkle in it. It's really, really pretty. I've always thought of this one as kind of a dupe for Cleona Regal, or maybe Cleona Royalty. I can't remember. Honestly, I get those two kind of confused in my head sometimes. So next up, we have another one that to me was kind of a dupe. This is Glasswing from Butterfly Kisses 2. And to me, this is kind of a dupe for Antares from Terra Moons. It's got like a strong pink base with like a teal, but kind of almost golden too shift to it. It's really, really pretty, really sparkly. Next up is the Monarch. This one's a really pretty bronze with a gold and pink shift. And again, like that really strong color compared to those first 3. Alright, so next up is Social Butterfly from the Butterfly Kisses 2 collection. This one is almost a duochrome to me. It's like got a really strong like orangey copper base with a gold sparkle throughout. And again, just really pretty. I have always been impressed with this formula from Looxi. These ones, not so much, but we'll get to that. So last for the second row is one from their fall collection. This is Abracadabra. This one to me is really similar to JD Glow Unexpected. It's got like that same kind of like neutral, like a little warm leaning base, but not as dark as the Monarch. And then it's got like a blue and green kind of shift and a little bit of a gold in there too almost. Again, another really pretty one. So next up is Angel Wings. This one is like a nice like rosy color, like a base, a peachy, rosy, almost beige leaning base with a really pretty like golden and green sparkle in it. And I should say all of these were around the same cost. When I bought them, they were $3, but I know they raised the price to $3.25. This next one is Peacock. It's from that Butterfly Kisses collection, and it's just got a little bit of a red base, but mostly it's that like lime green, not lime green, but like a yellowy green sparkle. This next one is from the Ice Cream Social 1, and it is Rocky Road. It's a really strong duochrome from red to green, and I think you can probably see the difference here. This one has a lot more base, but a little bit less sparkle. Next is For the Gram. So another thing I'll say as I'm swatching this one is I've had really good experience with Looxi shipping. For me, they're one of the fastest shipping indie brands. That one I mentioned was For the Gram. It's just like a nice like bronze, kind of like the Monarch but less sparkle. The next one is Baby Girl. I do live in the Midwest, and I know that Looxi is based out of Chicago, so I'm not sure if that has anything to do with their shipping time, but their shipping is pretty inexpensive, and I find that, again, stuff ships really quickly. And here's that one you can see. So next up we have, I always forget if this is Bougie or Bubbly. It's Bougie. So this is Bougie, and it's another one that's like a little less sparkly but has a really pretty like shine and shift to it. It's kind of like a beige to like a almost like a green color, and this one is like a light pink to a gold. Then we've got my only Looxi matte, and again, I can't speak for their new formula. This is the shade Peanut Butter, but I can say for their old formula, this shadow is obviously broken, and it broke really easily, I feel like. I also don't feel like it blends the best. You can definitely get it there, but I don't know, it can be a little patchy, so the mattes aren't my favorite. And then this last one is Reflection, which I do think is really pretty. It's like a taupe with like a green in it, but also somehow a little red as well. Really pretty. So here are all of these ones. I would say formula-wise, from Rocky Road up to the top, so all of these all are like that same like glittery-esque type of formula. The For the Gram and Reflection are both kind of more creamy feeling. I'm not sure if you can see on my finger, but it just like is thicker. Again, I don't know if this is really going to matter since they've changed stuff, but those two definitely have a different formula. And then these two right here, Baby Girl and Bougie, those ones have another formula, which is different. So those ones are more powdery, a little bit less pigmented, a little bit less sparkly, but really shiny. So if you're into like that shine without the sparkle, those ones might be your preferred style. Let's go ahead and swatch the rest on my other hand, and then you can kind of see the difference between the formulas at the end. This first one is Mint Chip. It's from the Ice Cream Social, and it's a blue to purple duochrome, and it's that similar formula to like Bougie and Baby Girl, where it's not sparkly, but it does have a nice shine, and it's got that like blue base, and I know you all aren't seeing it, but to me it looks very icy purple as I like shift my hand. Next, we have Flutter, and this is actually one I'm going to declutter. Flutter is similar to Baby Girl, but not as shiny. So to me, there's no reason to have both. But there it is. And you can definitely see, look at the difference. Even between these lighter shades, I feel like you can see these ones have a ton of sparkle, and these ones just kind of don't, you know, and they're a little dry, not quite as pigmented. Definitely a worse formula in my opinion. Last up in this first row is Latte. This one is really nice. This is one I like. It's just like a metallic taupe. Really pretty though. Next up, we have another one I'm decluttering. This is Halo, and it's just not very spectacular. It's supposed to be like a light pink base with a blue shift, and you can see that blue shift, but it's just not sparkly, and it's not like super dimensional or anything, and so to me, it's just kind of not worth having in my collection. The one next to it is White Sands, which I do keep because it's one of my lightest indie shades, and so I like to have it as an inner corner, but it's a pretty standard, like, champagne, leaning a little white gold color, inner corner highlight, you know. And then the next one, this is Bubbly. And here's a little pinky swatch of that. This one's, again, nice. It's similar in formula to Latte, these two, so they're a little bit more metallic, a little more pigmented, but less shifty. Whereas these other four are just really light and don't really offer a lot, in my opinion. Then the last one is another one I'm decluttering. This is Foxy Lady. It's like a light gray with a little bit of a gold. It's a little bit more pigmented than the others, but still just kind of not spectacular to me and not what I'm looking at indie shadows for. So here are the difference in those formulas. And you can see they are similar to these ones on the bottom, but even these ones have a little bit more sparkle than most of these. I would say the exception are these two. And yeah, they're just, I don't know, these ones just didn't excite me. I just washed off those swatches, and you can see a few of them did stain a tiny bit, mostly that purple, a little bit of the pink, and then over here like a tiny bit of that taupe color stained, and I still have some leftover sparkles too. But now that we've kind of swatched the shades, I want to talk about my experience with the brand. So a few things to know. One, like I was saying about shipping, I feel like I received my packages relatively quickly, especially for indie brands. In my experience, Looxi has been the type of brand where you don't have to pre-order shadows. As soon as you order them, they're shipped within a few days. Typically for me, I've done, I think 3 or 4 orders from the brand. Maybe 4. But on average, it takes my package about a week and a half from when it's placed to get it, which again is pretty good. Sometimes maybe 2 weeks. But once it has like the shipping notification, I find, at least for me in my location in the Midwest, it only takes about like 3 to 4 days for it to get to me, which is pretty good. Shipping for me in the past has been $5, which I think price-wise is pretty decent. And now let's talk about the shadows. So as you can see, this is definitely to me a hit or miss brand, but it's a brand that I'm okay to continue investing in because I find that it has more hits than misses. I know a lot of people have critiqued this brand in the past because their swatch photos are very unrealistic. You saw in the swatches that there are some shifts, especially in like some of these shadows, but online on their store, it will look like these are like straight up multi-chromes, which in my opinion, they're not, you know. A lot of them are duochromes, but I wouldn't consider them multi-chromes. So that's something to keep in mind if you're shopping the store. Be careful because what you see is not what you're going to get, but I still think what you get is really nice. Something else to note too is that in the past, this brand has had a hard time with keeping things in stock. So I mentioned earlier they don't do pre-orders, but some of their shadows do sell out and it can take a while for them to restock. And they're not super great at announcing when they are going to be restocking. So I don't know. It seems like the reason that all of these shadows are being discontinued is that they're moving manufacturers. So that may change in the future. And when I was on the website today, pretty much everything was in stock. But in the past, that definitely has been an issue. Although I've found that I've been able to order with pretty decent success. I was looking at their website and it looks like what they're doing now is they have $3 shimmer and matte shadows. Before they had them listed in a bunch of different categories and it was a little confusing to know what you were actually getting, but they seem to have streamlined it to only 2 categories, and all of those shadows are $3. Then they have this like artisan section where they're putting like limited edition shadows. They're making like small batches of different random shadows each time, and those seem to be $5. And I'm getting the vibe that those ones are much more similar to this formula, whereas that shimmer $3 formula is more similar to some of these. I don't know that for certain because I haven't placed an order. In case you don't know, I'm currently on a pretty strict no buy that's gonna last a while. So I didn't realize that Looxi had, you know, kind of completely revamped their online store. I have muted brand announcements and things on my Instagram, so I totally missed that. But from my experience, it seems like these ones are now going to be more at that $5 range, and the prices will kind of, the colors will circle in and out. Yeah, so would I buy from Looxi? Absolutely. To me, it was the first indie brand I bought from, and it really turned me on to the idea of indie eyeshadows. I think that their packaging is fine. It normally comes in just a standard cardboard box, and then the shadows are packaged in individual, like glossy, like cardboard-esque sleeves. I've never had issues with any of them breaking or anything like that. They seem to be pretty sturdy, except for the matte, which you can see broke. Not through shipment, but just like somewhere along the line, I must have like dropped a palette or something. I don't remember doing that, but somewhere along the line it broke. So yeah, I'm gonna put a few of these on my eyes so that way you can kind of see how they apply, because I think that's important, you know, not just like arm swatches. But I hope that this part was helpful, kind of talking about like shipping, the brand, prices, things like that. So now let's roll footage on the look I did earlier today. Full disclosure, it is a long time in the future, and I was editing this video and then I was like, oh no, I forgot my favorite Looxi shade of all time. I don't even know how I did it, but I did. This is Ube. You can see, look at that. Do you see that? That, my friends, is a sizable pan, because this is my favorite Looxi shadow, which is why when I was watching the footage back, I was like, I can't believe I forgot this shade out of all of them. But I figured I would swatch it for you. Oh my god. Well, we'll just push that back in, and you know, now it's a bigger pan. But I'll go ahead and swatch this for you. It's a really pretty like translucent purple base with a strong green shift. I know that for you, you're mostly seeing that green shift right now, but for me, I definitely do see that purple base. Maybe if I no, I don't think you'll be able to see it. I just think that this one looks so duochromatic on the eyes. I love this as like a fun one shadow look on like a day where I don't want like a lot of like depth to my eyeshadow. I just want something light, kind of washed out all over the lid, but something still interesting. I just really like wearing this shadow. Like if you like kind of like sheer it out, that purple base kind of like disappears, and it's just like a really cool like green tealy kind of sparkle, and I just love it. I really love this shade. Now back to the rest of the normal video. I figured we could go ahead and do like a little mini tutorial using some of the shades I have from Looxi Beauty, so that way you can see how they apply. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by taking peanut butter into the crease. And we're definitely gonna go for a look that does not match my outfit whatsoever, but that's okay, that's okay. You know, I am going to go to dinner soon, but I can always change. So we're just gonna go with the look that I feel like works best with the colors that I have from Looxi. So that way we can use a few different colors all together. Let me tap out that crease. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and take the Monarch, and I'm going to take that just on the outer corners to hopefully add a little bit of depth to this look. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and go into Rocky Road and start putting that in the center of my lid as a transition from that Monarch shade. And hopefully you can see, I think that the shade is really pretty. It's definitely not like the most sparkly Looxi shade, but it does have a really strong duochrome flip. So I figured it'd be a good one to kind of tie together that like reddy brown from the Monarch and the color that I think I'm going to do on my inner portion of the lid, which we can go ahead and do now. So now I'm going to take Peacock, and I'm going to take Peacock on the inner portion of my lid. Peacock is that really sparkly green. It doesn't really have quite as much of that like red shift in it, but it's really, really pretty. Okay, and those blended together really well. I feel like they kind of blended together to create the duochrome effect that Rocky Road would have had on its own, but I wanted to like go ahead and try to use a few different shades so that way, you know, you can see what it looks like. Okay, so for the last thing, I'm going to go ahead and take Nectar, and I'm going to use that as my inner corner highlight. Since this shade doesn't have a lot of a base, I thought it could be a good one. So I'm just putting that on with my finger. And I'm not going to put it on my brow bone. I think I'm going to just put a highlighter on my brow bone. So I'm going to go do that and put on mascara, and then I'll be back. Alright, I went ahead and finished up my makeup. I also changed, since again I'm about to go out to dinner. But I hope that you enjoyed kind of seeing some of these Looxi Beauty shadows applied in real time. And I hope you enjoyed like learning a little bit more about the brand and some of my thoughts, and that it's helpful for you if you're considering shopping. But definitely don't feel like you need to shop if you've watched this video. If not, you know, there's always later. And if not later, then I'm sure you have other beautiful eyeshadows to use instead. So let me know down in the comments which other brands you want to see this type of video for. I have a bunch of different brands that I can do it for. And until I see you next time, I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye.